The Denver Broncos finally broke the curse and beat the Kansas City Chiefs for the first time since 2015, 24-9. But just because tonight's victory was awesome, that doesn't mean that the Denver Broncos shouldn't still be sellers at the trade deadline just 2 days away on Halloween. I still feel like there's a strong chance that guys such as Jerry Judy can and will be dealt by the Denver Broncos. I feel like with Jerry Judy especially, it just kind of feels like his time in Denver has run its course. Yes, he did have 2 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown in today's game, but it just feels like with Jerry Judy, he's being a little bit phased out of the game plan. He's not being targeted as much, and it really feels like the Denver Broncos are going to want to move forward with Courtland Sutton at wide receiver, obviously with Marvin Mims, although he hasn't really been integrated into the offensive game plan the last couple of weeks, which has definitely been frustrating. So if there is any argument out there for Jerry Jeudy to stay in Denver, that certainly is it. But besides Pat Surtain, the only player that's really going to fetch at least a second round pick in terms of draft capital is Jerry Jeudy. I don't think Justin Simmons is going to at this point in his career, and I really don't think the Denver Broncos should move on from Justin Simmons. He's one of the key leaders in the locker room. At the wide receiver position, I feel like the Denver Broncos kind of need to see what they have in some of these younger pieces. Unfortunately, Brandon Johnson is on injured reserve for the next 4 weeks, so that kind of sucks, and that puts a little bit of a wrench in things. But Traquan Smith, we might want to see what we have in him. We obviously want to hopefully give Marvin Mims maybe some more playing time. And then there are other young players on this roster as well, because as awesome as tonight's win was, I mean, we caught the Kansas City Chiefs at the right time to get a victory. We really did. Between Patrick Mahomes being sick, the Chiefs having a really big matchup next week against the Miami Dolphins in Germany, they kind of were overlooking the Denver Broncos a little bit. And on top of that, they just didn't play their best brand of football. The weather obviously favored Denver in this game. So it was really the perfect storm that allowed the Denver Broncos to finally snap that losing streak to the Chiefs. But I don't think that we should allow it to create this false illusion that the Denver Broncos can be playoff contenders this year, because we just don't have the roster to be playoff contenders this year. We still have questions at quarterback. Russell Wilson, he threw 3 touchdowns today, but he still had several negative plays. And if you look at a lot of the advanced statistics, Russell Wilson did not have a very great day out there. He certainly wasn't the reason why the Denver Broncos won. The reason the Denver Broncos won, aside from Kansas City just not playing well, is our defense playing absolutely lights out, and our run game was really able to carry the load consistently in all 4 quarters for really just the second time this year. And what's nice is we've seen it now for 2 games in a row, both in the Green Bay game and against a really strong defense in the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm very confident that the Denver Broncos are building in the right direction. However, I don't want this win to create the false sense of illusion that the Denver Broncos are playoff contenders this year. We still have tough opponents on our schedule. We still have to deal with the Cleveland Browns. We still have to deal with the not the Kansas City Chiefs. We still have to deal with the Chargers. I mean, we still have some tough opponents on our schedule, guys. So, again, playoffs are probably not realistic at this point in time, but what is realistic is for us to enjoy this win, but also sit back and prepare ourselves for the Denver Broncos to maybe make a move to sell at the trade deadline. I remember in 2021, we had come off a victory against the Washington Commanders, and the very next day, Von Miller was traded away to the Los Angeles Rams. I think that the realistic possibility is that the Denver Broncos are still going to be sellers at the trade deadline, despite how awesome tonight's victory was. And if anything, this could really be an argument for the NFL just doing away with a trade deadline altogether, or just push it back to a little bit closer to the playoffs. Like, maybe if you were to make the trade deadline, say, week 12, that would, allow playoff contenders to stock up the cupboard and get those pieces in order to make a championship run. It would allow teams that are very clearly trying to rebuild, it would allow them to make a move even when they're pretty sure they're going to make a rebuild. Right now, this is probably the worst timing possible for the Denver Broncos to be at the trade deadline, coming off of probably our biggest victory of the year, but that is where we are right now. All right, Broncos country, I'm curious. In light of today's win, do you feel like the Denver Broncos are going to be sellers at the trade deadline? And if so, who do you think we're going to deal? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts, as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are 2 free and easy ways to show your support. Helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out and helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.